Hey, it's Dr. Lucas. We're going to be going over some nutritional information in a nutritional series covering fats, carbs, and proteins, as well as vitamins and minerals. This is meant to be just a high-level bit of information so that way you guys can make better decisions in your daily life to be able to live longer, but also especially skewed towards the athletic population, those that are running, training, lifting, exercising. Generally, we're trying to push the population towards that way. So this is going to be for you guys. Specifically, we're talking about fats today. Fats are essential in the human body. You need them to be able to function and to live. You cannot live on a zero fat diet. It's just not realistic. You need fats because you need to be able to make more cells, because cells just die routinely in your body. It's called metabolism. You need fat to be able to insulate the human body, to be able to keep you warm, especially in the cold winter months. You also need fat to be able to protect your viscera, protect your organs and your guts. And you also need it for a healthier functioning nervous system. So let's get into it. Fats can be broken into three different categories: trans fats, saturated fats, unsaturated fats. Trans fats are just bad all around. Avoid them at all costs. You just don't want to. You just don't want them. Your saturated fats, these are the ones that are typically regarded as unhealthy. These are the ones that we want to make sure that we are limiting. The unsaturated fats are the ones that are typically regarded as healthier fats. Now take this into context. Not all unsaturated fats are bad. In moderation is the biggest key here. We want to make sure that we are eating good quality sources of saturated fats, quality beef. We're not just digging right into the pastries. We're not digging into the fried foods, making sure that the sources are good. Also taking into account our current health status. If we have high triglycerides, we have high cholesterol, current cardiovascular diseases, we want to make sure that we are limiting the amount of saturated fats that we're having in our diet. Trading those saturated fats out for unsaturated fats is typically a good move and a good call. So, saturated fat sources are typically your red meats, your dairy, and your eggs. Those are typically going to be more full of saturated fats. However, they're not exclusively containing those saturated fats. There are some other ones that are in the mix. Hence why the context is really important. Then your unsaturated fats. Those are the ones that are typically regarded as healthy. We want to make sure you're getting as many unsaturated fats as you can. That's within a certain limit. Unsaturated fats are polyunsaturated, monounsaturated. Those are good fats to be able to have. Sources are typically your olives, your avocados, avocado oil, your macadamia nuts, your walnuts, your chia seeds, your flax seeds, your fattier fishes, your some of your really good quality red meats, your sunflower oil, corn oil, things like those. Examples are good sources of unsaturated fats. Now, for the amount of fats for the human body to be able to take in a solid, healthier diet, we want to make sure that we're limiting ourselves to about 20 to 35% of our calories coming from fats. Here's another caveat. You need to be able to know how much fat you are consuming kind of on a daily basis. To do that, if you do not even have a ballpark, taking a health macronutrient counter or a diet app or something of that nature to be able to track your food. Fat is something that typically gets snuck into a lot of our diet, and it will surprise you how much you're consuming. If you don't have any sort of pulse on how much fat that you're consuming, how much carbs and protein that you're consuming, it's going to be hard to make a better decision or a pivot if you don't currently know where you are. So track it just for a week, a couple of days, see where you are, see how you're doing. Good sources of all of these foods, again, like we mentioned, are your avocado oil, your olive oil, your good healthy fats, and your good healthy fishes like salmon, like your mackerel. Sardines are even good as well. We want to make sure that even for an athletic population, typically that changes a lot of the carb and protein intake. Fats really don't change a whole lot. We can go up to 35% instead of the 20 to 30. Generally, we want to make sure that our saturated fats, we're doing 10% of our total fat consumption or less towards saturated fats, the remainder being unsaturated fats. I hope this has been helpful. One thing that really helped me to kind of take things into consideration when looking at nutrition and diet is that we know relatively little for certain in the nutritional realm. It's often contradicting and it's often confusing. Even researching this was a headache to try to find something that was good and applicable and didn't contradict itself. Peter Attia wrote in the book, Peter Attia wrote in his book Outlive to Peter Attia wrote in his book Outlive one sentence that's really important. Don't undereat, don't overeat, eat enough protein. Don't try to eat bacteria like E. coli and try to avoid lead and avoid mercury. You do all of that, you are typically going to be fine. And anything kind of outside of that box, we really don't know for certain. Everything else we do. We don't know. Fuck. Peter Attia in his book Outlive wrote, Peter Attia in his book Outlive said a really, really important sentence. Don't eat too much. Don't eat too little. Eat enough protein. Avoid bacteria like E. coli. Avoid things like lead, mercury. Outside of that statement, we know very little for absolutely certain. Again, don't overeat, don't undereat, eat enough protein, avoid E. coli and bacteria, avoid lead and avoid mercury. Anything outside of that, we just really don't know for certain. Our body and our biochemistry is something to behold and take care of, but it's also individual as well. So take a lot of these diets and take a lot of the fads for a grain of salt. Generally, just make sure you're eating enough and that you're not eating too much and you're getting your protein. Do all that, you're typically going to be okay. All right, you guys, next up is going to be carbs. See you next week.